Welcome again to another edition of Where the 99 Lead. I'm Andrew Joyce, your host of Where the 99 Lead, brought to you by the University of Pikeville. We talk all things regarding the University of Pikeville. And today, joined by a special guest, Dr. Eric Becker, Vice President for Advancement at the University of Pikeville. We talk about alumni activities, alumni events, and such with Dr. Becker. And Eric, first of all, you've been in Pikeville for a little while now, but still there are people out there that don't know Dr. Eric Becker. Let's introduce Dr. Becker to those folks. Let's have a little biographical information. Where did you come from? How did you arrive here?
Well, I'm originally from Ann Arbor, Michigan, taught at the University of Michigan as a music faculty member. When I was pursuing my PhD and teaching at the University of Louisville, Governor Patton was then governor. And when I saw this opportunity a couple of years back to serve in this role, I thought this would be a terrific place to live and work. And now with James Hurley assuming the responsibilities as president, it continues to be a great place to work on behalf of all the men and women there at the University of Pikeville and also for the alumni.
Something we want to talk about a little later. Dr. James Hurley, the first UPike alumni to serve as president at the University of Pikeville. We'll touch on that a little later, but it's amazing to me when we hear about our governor, Eastern Kentucky's governor, Pike County's governor, Pikeville's governor, Paul Patton, former president at the University of Pikeville, now chancellor at the University of Pikeville. It amazes me. He's known as the education governor. The people that gravitate to him and that have gravitated to this university because of his passion for education.
Well, and I've been amazed. I've worked at some very large universities and also some smaller colleges and universities. And the University of Pikeville has moved faster than any school I've ever been involved with in terms of the momentum, the enrollment growth, the facilities. Programmatically, it's been a real whirlwind, but it's a very exciting time to be here.
Seems to be the atmosphere around Governor Patton. Everything is a whirlwind, but a lot of excitement has been taking place on the Hill. Since you arrived in Pikeville, you arrived right in the middle of that. Let's talk about your role, Vice President for Advancement at the University of Pikeville. What does the Office of Advancement do?
Our role is to connect folks to the university to move the institution forward. We do that in several ways. The first way is we want to continue to tell the story about not only what's happening on the Hill, but also what's happening with our alumni around the country and around the world.
Sure, lots of alumni out there.
Mm-hmm. So 2 years ago we started a alumni e-newsletter, of which each month we capture stories of students, faculty, staff, alumni, to tell the story of all the good things that are happening. And so working with Lucy Holman in the PR office, we've done a great job, I believe, in getting the word out about all those great things. Second area of focus is really to build relationships with folks. Our sense when I arrived on the first day the University of Pikeville became the University of Pikeville.
Yes.
So our job then is to connect people, alumni, friends of the university, businesses, corporations, with all the good things happening at the institution. This is why we started this Alumnites Tour this year, to connect in meaningful ways with our alums. The third leg, of course, then is to raise funds for the institution. Sure. So we do that through the annual fund, we do it through major gifts. This last year we wrote almost $4 million in grants, applications to try to help move all the programs forward.
I think a lot of folks, while we may be very aware that the University of Pikeville is a private institution, there are some out there that think, okay, well, there was a name change. That means it became a state university. That's not the case. The University of Pikeville is still a private institution and depends on private donations for scholarships, for physical buildings, to improve the campus, to build dormitories and things like that. So it's a very important part of the university is the Office of Advancement, alumni interaction, connecting people, and then of course those relationships with donors as well, those folks that want to see the University of Pikeville 100 years from now, long after you and I are long gone. You mentioned alumni tour, the events coming up. I know a full schedule lined up for 2013 and 14. Let's talk about what that is. First of all, Alumni events, and let's talk about some of the events that you have planned.
The original idea of Alumni, one of our staff came up with the name for the program. When alumni think of their alma mater, a lot of folks view it almost as a stock or commodity, and they want that stock or commodity to grow in value over the years.
Sure.
They want their institution to be known with greater respect and offer more programs and be even more meaningful every year after they graduate. So Alumni was a way to connect with people not only here in town, but all around the country in different locations, to tell them the good news about the institution, let them know that we're not only doing well, we've had balanced budgets the last several years now, but we're adding new programs. We just started the College of Business. The medical school is thriving, larger classes, things are going so well. And for a while, the Alumni Association focused most of their activities here right on campus.
Right.
So we want to take the activities to the alumni. Still offer many things on campus, the tailgates, homecoming, different lectures and whatnot on campus.
Sure.
But go to different parts of the country where our alumni live and work and meet at interesting places. Some of the events we're going to do over the next year will be at ball games, will be at theater productions, we'll be at concerts. Next week, we're going to meet out in Hyannis, where Coach Gassman's coaching his Hyannis Hawks in a baseball game.
I think in the Cape Cod
League, yes.
in New England.
And the other perception we're trying to change is that the Alumni Association is not just about coming back here when perhaps we're a little older in life. Right. We want to connect with every generation of alumni and remind them that it's a good idea to stay connected to their alma mater for a number of reasons. To stay in touch with their friends, to know what's going on, but then also to give back to current students as they look for job opportunities, internships, just other experience that our tremendous alumni network can provide for our students.
You talk about an alumni event in New England, of course, with the UPike Coach Gassman coaches there during the summer months. It's a prestigious summer baseball league. But you mentioned theater productions and other types of activities. Where are some of these alumni events taking place, and how are they spaced throughout the year?
Well, what we've tried to do is space these things out geographically and in terms of the calendar. Part of it is so we can be organized to do them well, sure, but also then that we meet some of the expectations of people living in those areas. For example, we're going to do a few more events in Florida during the winter months when many of our alumni may be vacationing or staying down in Florida during that time.
I'm curious where the alumni live, and I was aware that there is a large number of alumni that live in the Florida area during the winter months.
Well, and a lot of them have two addresses.
Sure.
Some of them live still up here and then
right,
travel down there in the winter months. Other folks go down there for extended periods and perhaps will be more inclined to join us at different events. An event that we've done the last several years is hosted by Doug and Judith Hinkle over in Daytona Beach.
Right.
And people have come to Florida just to go to that event. We do it at the Shores Hotel overlooking the ocean. And it's just a really nice time to tell stories about their time at then Pikeville College, sure, and also to hear about what's happening now at the University of Pikeville.
How have the alumni received the name change, the University of Pikeville? Because many of your alumni, especially those with any type of years on them as well, the folks that earned their degrees more than 2 or 3 years ago, they were graduates of Pikeville College. Have they accepted the name change to UPike?
I think by and large, most have. It's more reflective of who we are today.
Right.
University reflects graduate programs, a broader approach to education, again, bringing education to the mountains and helping the people of this region. So I think most people have been very receptive. The UPike acronym has been very popular with folks, and yes, they love getting the pins and the different paraphernalia of it. We're very careful, though, in our alumni events to continue to refer to their time as their days back at Pikeville College.
Absolutely.
So, but I think all in all, it's been a very positive change, and again, much more reflective of who we are as an institution today.
Absolutely. We must respect the past and the history and the traditions of Pikeville College while moving forward day to day. You're tuned to Where the 99 Lead. It's a program brought to you by the University of Pikeville. We talk all things regarding the University of Pikeville, and today's guest, Dr. Eric Becker, Vice President for Advancement at the University of Pikeville. His office deals with alumni. His office deals with interaction between the campus and the community, and of course donor relations as well. The Office of Advancement looking to move the university forward, and we talk about alumni events scheduled through the next school year, the calendar year 2013 and 14, which is hard to believe it's just around the corner. But some winter events coming up in Florida, you say, very soon, and events going on in New England. And you touched on also, of course, the tailgate parties that take place every UPike home football game at the Bear Grounds. Wildly successful.
It still surprises folks when they come to the game, and I try to make a point to stand kind of at the intersection where you have to decide, are you going to go to the tailgate area or go to your seats? And so I will invite people to come over and have something to eat, and they're just amazed, first of all, that we're there. They're even more amazed that it's free.
Yes.
But a lot of people, it provides us an opportunity to have conversations with people. If they go directly to their seats, they pretty much are relegated to talk to the folks that are sitting next to them. Gives us a chance to reminisce about their time back on the Hill. And it's a good way to bring people together.
Absolutely, and of course we talk about tailgating at the Bear Grounds, each UPike home football game, and that takes place underneath the stands there at Hambly Athletic Complex. Absolutely free event. Sponsored by the Alumni Association with the help of some great sponsors as well.
Food City and Pepsi have been very generous the last several years in this transition to doing these tailgates. They provide the food and the drinks. We serve this up until just the start of the game, and then there are, of course, concessions throughout the game, but it's a wonderful relationship we have with Food City and Pepsi, providing these treats before the game. I know you and your staff stop by.
We typically do.
Our recruits will come over, not only just football recruits, but recruits for other sports or just academic recruits that are in town. So it's a special time.
It absolutely is, and I do try to typically stop by for the tailgating, and it's a chance for folks that are close to the campus that maybe get a chance to interact with parents of the players or families of the players involved, or recruits, as you say, that may be in town for the game for that weekend, and parents come in that are from out of town. And it's a way to interact and talk about their experiences with the university and share experiences and stories. It's a great time, and I think it is a great time for the alumni to get together. We talk about the alumni quite a bit, and I guess a question with the alumni events, New England, Florida, various places throughout the year that those take place. How can recent alumni or older alumni get involved if they've not been well connected to the Alumni Association by either attending events or maybe they would like to even host an event?
Well, the first step in determining what we were going to do before we were even getting folks involved was to find out what our alumni wanted to do. So, for example, at the Bear Grounds, the tailgates, we try to do some activities that are cross-generational. We'll have some inflatable apparatus there for the little kids. We'll have different games. We'll have competitions at halftime, again, trying to appeal to different generations. So then a few months back, we surveyed our alumni to determine what kind of events they would like to. And we tried to cross-reference that with different age groups to find out what kind of events. When we determined that, I met with the Alumni Association board, and we started making a list not only of events or places we could go that necessarily wouldn't just appeal to you and I,
Sure.
but also to recent graduates or retired folks, mid-career, alumni with families. determine where those places might be, and then to determine what alumni perhaps live in the area that could possibly serve as a host. Now, when I say a host, that's how we mean it specifically. We want that person to greet the people there, perhaps make some phone calls to alumni live in the area,
Right.
but serve as a name and a voice and a letter writer to people in the area to encourage them more so than just folks that work at the university. We've had great success at the Hinkles reception down in Daytona Beach because they take such a personal interest in inviting folks to that event.
Yes.
So I have no illusions. A lot of people come to the event because of the Hinkles, not because of me.
Sure.
But that's the way we want it, because it's important that the alumni get together and talk about those times together, talk about what's great about the university today, and find ways that they might enhance the experience for today's students.
We've seen a dramatic increase in alumni who are attending not just campus events, but athletic events, and throughout the community, the Orange and Black seems to be making a comeback. We've seen a lot of U-Pike spirit. And how has the university and the alumni board worked to rejuvenate the Alumni Association?
A little less than 2 years ago, I worked with the alumni board as part of the Alumni Association to revamp our strategic plan of how we connected with our alumni. When we first started, one of my first questions for the group was, when people think of the Alumni Association, what do they think of?
Sure.
And most of the comments were related to, well, we're at events here in town, maybe around sporting events. They mentioned some things they did for the students, but they really weren't reaching out as much as I thought we could to alumni that aren't necessarily living right in this area.
Right.
So our focus was to first start communicating about the university, telling the story about our students, faculty, staff, alumni, to generate that interest, and then start trying to find ways to reach out into different communities to connect. Our hope is that these kinds of connections not only get people together, old friends that haven't perhaps seen each other for a long time, but also that we find connections to possible internship opportunities for our current students, jobs for our graduates,
Sure.
expertise that could come back to campus and share their wealth of experience and knowledge with our current students, and find ways that we can really use this alumni network to help today's students and tomorrow's graduates. Helping with the realities of how you apply for a job. What are the good things to try to do while you're in school to get the right experience, to have a career in those areas. A lot of times our students just appreciate hearing what someone does in a role, like for example in your role.
Sure.
You know, it's helpful for students to know what's the day in and day out responsibilities of a role like you have.
Sure.
at the radio station. So this sense of imparting wisdom and experience to our current students is completely invaluable experience for them, and we look to make these connections across the country.
Absolutely. Networking, very, very big in the business community and to our recent graduates. Speaking of that, the University of Pikeville recently celebrated along with 260 graduates this past May in the class of 2013. How do you welcome new graduates to the Alumni Association?
The last 2 years, the Alumni Association has donated funds to give them a portfolio, professional-looking portfolio.
Sure.
So they can use that not only in their daily lives, but also in interviews. In that portfolio, we had a letter from Governor Patton and Kay Hammond, our Alumni Association president, and we handed those portfolios to every graduate as they walked across the stage. This year, Mrs. Welch was there in honor of Frank Welch,
Right.
who we dedicated this gift to our graduates, to remember his legacy in the school systems and to pass that on to future generations. And I know for a lot of the graduates that was meaningful because they knew Mr. Welch. They either had him in school or knew people that taught for him, or
Sure.
just the myriad of connections that they had through that family. So I think it became even more of a meaningful gift associating that with him this year. But we wanted to send a message to every graduate as they walk across the stage that we're still with them. We still want to connect. We still want to hear their story. In fact, in the e-newsletter every month, we ask people to tell us what you're doing. Tell us the interesting things in your life. Send us pictures. We have Jordan Gibson, who pulls together this wonderful e-newsletter every month. He started a column in there of identify the mystery person in the photo. We have all these photos of alumni when they were on campus in school. And we've had great fun putting those on the website, on the e-newsletter, on our Facebook page, trying to identify who these people are. Because some of them perhaps might look a little different now than they used to. So that's been a nice facet of it.
And we find out how well we age.
That's right.
Exactly. Dr. Eric Becker, Vice President for Advancement at the University of Pikeville, our guest on this edition of Where the 99 Lead. We talk about alumni. We talk about a number 13,000 strong around the world. How important is alumni involvement? We've touched on that some. And what are some of the ways that UPike reconnects with its graduates?
Well, again, our first effort to reconnect with them is just to tell them what's happening on campus. And perhaps if they're not as interested as maybe what's happening in a particular degree program that we're offering, they might be interested in hearing stories about what their fellow classmates have done in their lives. So telling the story, again, is our first role that we identified in the strategic plan to reconnect with those folks. We realized that everybody, in terms of connecting with them physically, we can't expect everyone to come back to Pikeville on a regular basis. So that's why Alumnites was created, to take this literally across the country so people living in their areas could meet and greet. We did a small version of this just kind of as a pilot out east last year and invited people just with a simple letter to come and meet us for dinner. And all I had to do was ask one question, and I didn't have to speak the rest of the evening because they were all sharing stories about professors and, you know, stories about the cafeteria and the curfews and all the wonderful things that happened during their time at school. And you just get these stories started, and you just sit back and listen to all the wonderful times that they shared together.
You talk about connecting, and the e-newsletter, which has been vital to reconnect with graduates. We've become such an electronic community, Facebook, social media, and I know the Alumni Association tied there as well. But the UPike News newsletter, the official online newsletter of the Alumni Association. Talk about that and how alumni can subscribe to that.
As we send correspondence out to our alumni, we encourage them to sign up for that. They can go to the website and fill in their email address, and they'll be on that list. The e-newsletter is unique in a way that other forms of media perhaps are not, is that we can track who opens what pages on the e-newsletter every month. We can see which articles, not only do they open, but how long they spend on the articles, which the reason we do that is to know what folks are interested in. If we see more people opening up the mystery photos and stories about our students and alumni, well, we know that we need to continue to do more of that. I write a little intro every month at the top of the e-newsletter. I don't expect anybody ever to really read that, because as we know in our lives, when we open a newspaper, a magazine, an e-newsletter, we go to the things that provide us the most enjoyment or information that we're looking for. So we very specifically track the reactions that we hear to this. We get wonderful feedback from our alumni about what stories they like. We're always asking them for feedback on stories they'd like to hear or stories that they know about themselves or other alums. And so it starts to feed upon itself. I remember when Jordan first started pulling this together, it was a challenge to find enough material every month to fill out an e-newsletter. But now we're sifting through and saying, well, we have more than enough information. What month should we put this story in? And it's truly become an exciting vehicle, not only for the Alumni Association, but also for the university to celebrate accomplishments, put in announcements of upcoming events, and celebrate the lives and careers of many of our alums.
And a great way to stay in touch. And if someone hasn't been contacted or they've lost contact information, how could they subscribe to that e-newsletter?
They can call us directly, and right now as we're sitting here, that number is escaping me, but they can call the university and we'll sign them up for that e-newsletter.
Just ask for the Office of Advancement.
Right. They can go to upike.edu, go right to alumni, and there's a nice page there where they can be directed to how to type in their email address, and they'll subscribe, be on that list right away. Alumni that are already subscribing
Yes.
can forward this e-newsletter to other people that they know. People on average change email addresses, I think somewhere between once every year or so, and so we're encouraging people to update those addresses and
Sure.
let us stay in touch.
No doubt. Dr. James Hurley, the first University of Pikeville president, the first University of Pikeville alumnus to serve as president of the University of Pikeville. That has to be a very proud moment for the Alumni Association, the Alumni Board, and I got a feeling that that made big waves through the e-newsletter.
Absolutely, and that was another reason for starting the Alumnites, what we're calling Alumnites Tour. We're calling it a tour because we're going to tour to all the different locations.
Sure.
But now that we have an alum as our president, we feel that a lot of folks will reconnect in a way because they know one of their own is now watching the store and providing wonderful leadership for today and tomorrow's students. James is so well connected in his role the last 4 years in recruitment and enrollment management. He connected so well with alums and schools around the state, around the Commonwealth. And now with his name recognition out there, we expect a lot of people will reconnect just because he's part of the mix now. He is the leader. He is our president. We're all excited about that, and we look forward to a bright future. But a real optimism, it's a big deal when at any institution one of your alumni comes back.
Sure.
Because this is the institution that he loves. He got his graduate work done at other institutions, but this is his alma mater. This is where his blood runs orange and black. His family always is adorned in orange and black at sporting events, as you know. This is an exciting time for the UPike community.
Absolutely is. We've talked about a lot of exciting things. Of course, the Alumni Tour coming in 2013 and 14, and I guess first on the agenda, a trip to New England for an alumni event there. But the calendar, they can check that, follow the e-newsletter for events coming and where those events might be located. If someone's interested in learning more about the Alumni Association, perhaps someone viewing this program today would like to become a donor at the University of Pikeville. Maybe there's an alumni out there who would like to be on a list and become a regular donor. They love their university. They loved Pikeville College, and they would like to be a part of that. If they would like to contact the advancement office or learn more about the UPike Alumni Association, who should they contact?
Well, they can contact me directly. They can email me at ericbecker@upike.edu. Call me at the office, 606-218-5282. With each of the hosts for each of these events, I've gone out and visited with them, talked through what they will do as host, what we'll do to attract people. I tell them that we'll make a mailing to all 13,000 folks around the country about all the events over a 6-month period. We'll put this information in the e-newsletter, again, to 13,000 folks.
Sure.
We'll send a third correspondence to everybody who lives within 300 miles of where that event is. So people might want to drive and meet together there.
Right.
And then we encourage those hosts to reach out on their own to people they may know in the area to invite them there.
Sure.
So there's a lot of ways for people to get involved. At these events, we hope to meet people that might be willing to come back to campus and speak with our students.
Sure.
People that might have internship opportunities. What a wonderful opportunity for some business owner to have a student come and work there as an intern. Find out if he or she is a good fit for the company,
Absolutely.
for the organization. and then know that somebody could come and hit the ground running as soon as they graduate in a very dynamic way. They know their alma mater. They know the quality of students that come out of the University of Pikeville. And this could be an invaluable addition to both their businesses and corporations, but also to our students' education.
Indeed. Dr. Eric Becker, Vice President for Advancement at the University of Pikeville, our guest today. Dr. Becker, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Busy times coming for the Alumni Association and the Office of Advancement. You've been tuned to Where the 99 Lead with Dr. Eric Becker with the Office of Advancement at the University of Pikeville. Where the 99 Lead brought to you by the University of Pikeville. We talk all things regarding the University of Pikeville and, of course, those historic 99 steps that lead to campus and from campus into the community, into Central Appalachia, and into the world. On behalf of the University of Pikeville, I'm Andrew Joyce, the University of Pikeville, the leading university of Central Appalachia.